Good morning, everyone. It is June 8th, 2019. I'm Eric. I'm here at Zero Hedge. Fewer than half of violent crimes are solved in America. Fewer than half. Then you got to wonder about the other crimes. Non-violent. No. Like burglaries, car break-ins, these kinds of things. One of the central arguments in favor of the government's monopoly on police powers is that government police are essential in keeping us safe. Essential in keeping us safe. I don't know about you, but I don't feel too safe when one of these guys gets behind me, whether they're flashing their lights or not. So how exactly this order is maintained by police, however, is less clear. In recent years, police agencies have insisted they have no legal obligation to directly intervene to protect people from threats posed by criminals. And the courts have agreed. Having abandoned the protect part of protect and serve, the police have retreated to the claim that their real role is simply to enforce the law. Freaking hiccups. This enforcement presumably would include investigation of crimes and arrests of suspects. So, how's this going for them? According to the most recent FBI Crime in America, or in the United States report, only 45% of violent crime lead to arrests and prosecution. That is less than half of violent crimes result in what is known as clearance of the crime. Property crime clearance, or property crime clearances, are much worse. Only 17% of burglaries, arson, and car thefts are cleared. Among violent crimes, homicides experience the highest clearance rate by far, at 61%. Aggravated assault comes in at 53%, and rape at 34%. You heard that correctly. Rape is only cleared 34% of the time. Now, if you're a serial killer, your odds of getting caught are pretty low given these numbers. But these are just cases where arrests are made and prosecutions are initiated. A smaller number of cases actually lead to convictions. A crime may be cleared even when the suspect is later exonerated. According to the Bureau of Justice Statistics, the nationwide conviction rate for murder is 70%. So, we may be looking at a situation in which, for every 100 homicides, 61% are cleared, and then 70% of those 43 cases lead to conviction. And this assumes that the correct person is convicted. According to some estimates, 4% of inmates on death row are innocent. Wrongful conviction rates are assumed to be higher for lesser crimes, since officials are less rigorous in establishing guilt when capital punishment is not on the table. These are all aggregate estimates, of course, but it's not outlandish to conclude from the available evidence that at least half of homicides don't lead to convictions of the guilty party. Convictions for other sorts of crimes are well below that. Moreover, clearance rates for homicides and other crimes are far below the national average in certain places. According to Peoria, Illinois' Journal-Star, the Murder Accountability Project was able to determine the state's 2015 clearance rate at roughly 37%. By comparison, Peoria cleared 47% of its cases that same year. Meanwhile, Boston's police department recently increased its clearance rate to slightly above the national average, but this followed a 5-year period from 2007 to 2011 when homicide detectives had cleared only 148 of 314 killings, with a clearance rate of 47%. With so few homicides leading to convictions, it's not surprising that one criminologist has described the situation as a national disaster. They say better police work can lead to better outcomes. But allow me to point out that these people are human beings. They have the same devices as the McDonald's worker, as the taxi driver, as everybody else. And they too are highly distracted by these devices. Everywhere you turn in America, there is an incompetent person doing a job they shouldn't be doing. Even if it's as simple as taking orders at a drive-through window. Now, I went to Hardee's last week, and the person repeated my order back to me twice, and I still got the wrong shit. And this incompetence is spread across every sector, including law enforcement. Anyway, let's continue. Better police work can lead to better outcomes, and I just told you about incompetence here in America. And it's a rampant thing. Part of the reason that low clearance rates are alarming is that they create the conditions that lead to fewer clearances in the future. For example, if witnesses believe the police are unlikely to actually arrest and prosecute the guilty parties, witnesses are more likely to be frightened or to be too frightened to come forward. In cases of lesser crimes, such as sexual assaults and burglaries, how is sexual assault a lesser crime? I mean, when you sexually assault a child, you kill a part of that child. You destroy their innocence. In many ways, you kill that person. But I digress. In the case of lesser crimes, such as sexual assaults and burglaries, many victims may conclude the unlikelihood of a conviction, make reporting crimes not even worth the trouble. And believe me, sometimes, a lot of times, it is just that, trouble. I try not to get the police involved in any aspect of my life. If I am attacked at a gas station or anywhere else, I will not call the police. I will handle that shit myself. And if somebody dies, somebody dies. Police agencies are often quick to point out that many of these issues are beyond their direct control, and some factors beyond police control can make some cases very difficult to investigate. If the victim was a member of a gang, for example, finding cooperative witnesses will be very difficult indeed. And of course, why would you even go after the killer of a gang member? They live a lifestyle inviting violence and death. I say let them have it. If the crime was part of a drug deal, this makes things much harder for investigators as well. But there are also plenty of factors well within the control of police, as noted by researchers Anthony A. Draga and Desiree Bussault. I don't know. Factors that were within police control and exerted significant influence on whether homicide cases were cleared included the actions of the first officer on the scene, response time less than 30 minutes, the notification of the crime lab and medical examiner officer, the number of detectives assigned to the case, detective follow-up on information provided by witnesses, computer checks on involved individuals, and any guns in the case. In a study by B. Frost, I'm not even going to, S.J. Cox, the author, discovered that officers with the most arrests and convictions commonly responded most rapidly to calls for service, were better crime scene managers, were best at identifying, locating, and questioning witnesses, and displayed more of the characteristics commonly identified as relevant to successful investigators. In addition, Frost discovered that cases in which an arrest was made within 30 minutes after the case was reported had the highest chance of resulting in a conviction. So, more or less, police, law enforcement, they're more and more becoming obsolete. And it's a good thing, because human beings should not have control to that extent over other human beings. I mean, who wants to give another human being the power to make you disappear? I don't. Anyway, if you like my content, please do thumbs up, subscribe, share, donate, PayPal link below, and there's Discord links as well, so you can chat with like-minded people. Till next time, kill the state, live free.